Stop pooping and watch this video. What's cracking, everybody? Hello and welcome back to Gaming 101 with Mr. Berger. Tonight, we're just gonna have a little fun. We're gonna take a look at my current ladder deck. I shared it recently in my, I added bats to my ladder deck video. So take a look at that one if you haven't already. So tonight, it's just gonna kind of be a little fun video on, looking at some of my recent replays, some good ladder matches that I've had. I'm not gonna show any losses tonight in this particular video because it's just a kind of for fun, current, how I'm doing on ladder right now video. So maybe I should show losses because honestly I lose more than I win probably. Actually, if you take a look at Stats Royale, you can check your win to loss ratio, and I was pleasantly surprised. I got a pretty solid one. So here you can see that what he does is he's got this big golem beatdown going. I accidentally, or kind of not really accidentally, but poorly placed my Minion Horde right on top of his golem, so the zap on top of the golem's death damage completely wipes out my Minion Horde. But I was able to get a whole bunch of tower damage on the right there. I think pretty much that knight just wrecked it all out. Just completely destroyed that tower. Well, I shouldn't say destroyed it, but did a bunch of damage to it. And on top of that, I got the hog going in with the bats on the right here. Now, the hog does a good job of distracting the ice wizard so that he doesn't cleave out the bats, and the bats actually completely destroy his goblins, then go on to destroy that ice wizard. So that was a really solid play here. Now at this point, I know that he has that level 8 golem, and that's really scary. Level 8, is that max level for epics? I think it is, right? So he's basically got a maxed out golem, and that just scares me. And here comes the bomber in for support. So this is kind of like a Hog Cycle deck, but at the same time you do have, or at least I do in the version that I'm running, have a lot of really powerful defensive cards with those maxed out Ebarbs and that level 12 Minion Horde. So I use the Minion Horde on top of his support, and then it goes on to completely take care of that graveyard and the golem. Of course, the golem already destroyed my tower, and that was inevitable, I think, with that golem coming down the lane, but the Minion Horde stays alive for a really long time and completely destroys it all. And look at that rage push. I got the Ebarbs, I got the hog, I got the Minion Horde coming in there. Look at the value from that Minion Horde, and here comes another one on the right. And there goes a zap, and you can see, oh, there's my opportunity to use the opposite one. There's the new emote. I cracked up so hard when he did that. Like, I don't usually laugh at people, but oh man, that was funny. Like, that was entertaining. That was a good usage of that new emote. So, hey, Chris, shout out to you for using that emote in awesome, hilarious timing and making us all crack up in my little video here. Oh my goodness, guys. I just had to re-record this, or not re-record it, but like I thought I had to re-record it because I was like, oh wait, I'm going up against Chris again, but it's two guys in a row, both named Chris. Lowercase Chris in this case, and uppercase Chris in the other case. Anyway, that was a really funny little kind of blooper moment there for me. So what I have going on here is I wanted to talk about how I enjoy the new 3-minute overtime in ladder matches. So if you are above 4,000 trophies like yours truly, you now have a 3-minute overtime ladder matches, just like you do in challenges. So I think that that's a really good idea. It brings kind of a different aspect to the game, because it will, a lot of people are saying it'll nerf siege decks, because they kind of play into that draw a lot of times, and then slowly win their matches when they can. And I think that it'll kind of cause cycle decks to suffer too, and it'll cause beatdown to shine a little bit more. So it brings an interesting new dynamic to the ladder matches, and I think that it's going to be a really good thing. So you can see here that I do enjoy it, and that I use the advantage, or take advantage of that kind of full overtime to win this match here. Before, you would often play into draws, and it's just kind of, that's kind of like, why? Like, it's kind of boring. Just make the matches a little bit longer so that we can actually have a victor. I'm sure that they had their reasoning because they wanted certain decks to be able to shine a little bit more, but I think that this is a needed change. I think it's a good change, and I'm excited to see it. So here we got the Valkyrie coming down the lane. I've already taken out one tower on the right there, but we're going to go ahead and get into that double elixir time here, and he definitely has a heavier deck with that P.E.K.K.A in there. He's got the wizard, he's got the witch, he's got the Valkyrie. Like, it's a pretty heavy deck. So I think that he's definitely going to have an advantage in this double elixir time here. You can see that all he has to do at this point is fireball my tower anyway when it's down. So I go for a big push here in the right and try to go for the 3 crown. The Ebarbs do get a swing or 2 off on the tower, and the Hog's just wailing away at it. The baby dragon's doing a good job of chipping away at my Hog and taking it out. Now at this point, I'm like, okay, King Tower is even lower than the Princess Tower. So why waste my time? You know, why waste my time on the Princess Tower? Why not just go straight for the 3 crown victory? And then here comes the P.E.K.K.A. to ruin my day. I got that Ebarb Hog Rage push going in, but the Hog only gets 1 swing off on the tower, even with the Rage, because the P.E.K.K.A. switches over to the Hog after it kills the first Ebarb, and the Hog's now the closest target. I got that Minion Horde there on defense, and the Knight to soak up some of the hits. Then I use the Bats after I've seen his Zap go off, of course, because as you remember from my, Bats in my ladder deck video, this makes it kind of a Zap Baity-like deck. Once they've used the Zap on the Minion Horde or the Bats, you can use the alternate, whichever is available. So he's really low, but I don't have any heavy damage spells in this deck. The version that I'm running right now, I'm not running a Poison or a Fireball or a Rocket or a Lightning. I think all I have here is Zap, because it's kind of this gimmicky kind of Ebarb Rage deck, Hog Rage push deck. Go for that big, catch them off guard, push, and just kind of win the game doing that, winning through card levels and things like that. So I can't just rocket his tower or fireball it twice. So I've got to try to chip through. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to use those zaps because it's so low that a few more zaps will actually finish it off. My zap is maxed out. And despite, what was it? It's been like 6 months or a year now since they nerfed all the spell damage to crown towers. But despite that nerf, the zap does a good little chunk of damage to the crown tower. And you can see there that my Hog kind of goes in and finishes up the job, connects to the tower at the end, despite that P.E.K.K.A. And I'd probably, because looking at the timer right now to at exactly 2 minutes, I probably would not have had enough time there. It probably would have ended just there, or I would have won in the last second had the previous overtime rules applied. But since we have those new overtime rules, I was able to ensure that victory there. Alright, this is another deck, or another match in which I make use of that overtime, unless I'm mistaken. So let's see what I do here, and let's talk about my exact plays and my decision making and things like that. Alright guys, so I often like to open with the Ice Spirit just kind of to get something on the field and not leak elixir and see what they're going to do. I don't really like to cycle Minion Horde in the back very often because they'll often zap or arrows it right in the center there, and you can actually get all 6 with the zap right in the center without hitting the King Tower, and that's a pretty positive trade for whoever does the zap versus the Minion Horde. I use the Bats to take out that Valkyrie. Of course the Wizard makes quick work of them, so I use the Knight. Good old Knight, one of my favorite units. As you can see, I kind of look like him up there on the top of my screen, right? I like him a lot. He's tanky, he has really solid damage, he's really cheap, he only costs 3. Great unit all around. He's gone through quite a few tweaks, but in his current state he's still pretty decent, and he was my first max level card, so I still use him. I got the Hog going in the right there. The Hog only gets 2 swings off because that Valkyrie attack speed buff and that first swing increased speed buff that she got recently make her definitely significantly stronger, give her a more solid DPS because of that attack speed increase. And here comes the minions to get melted, burst into flames by the fireball from that Wizard. Now he uses an aggressive graveyard. I don't know how I feel about that. I got the Bats on defense there. The Bats do a really good job of shutting down all the skeletons, and then I got the Knight, of course, to distract the Wizard as usual. And the Princess Tower finishes off all the skeletons. Knight lives long enough with the Ice Spirit to kill that Wizard, and then I take advantage of the Knight and try to use him as a kind of tank for the Hog. Now, this is a term that I heard, I think, in a Clash with Ash video recently, and he called it a pig push. I love that. Got the pig push going, got the Knight in front, and got the pig in the back pushing it. Got that Hog Rider pushing that guy in front. You can do Valkyrie too. Get the pig push going with the Valkyrie. But I like doing it with the Knight, because again, he's my max level card. He was my first max level card. So take advantage of those card levels, because we're playing on ladder after all, right? Where card levels are what make all the difference. Card levels are the most important thing on ladder. I think so. Unless you're playing one of those level 1 accounts. That's not true, but they're very important. So he activates my King Tower there, a little bit late in the game. I got the Ebarbs on defense here to try to take out that Golem, and I got the Knight in front so that the Valkyrie and the Wizard don't just cleave my Ebarbs to death. Now, the Bats do a really good job of supporting the Ebarb. and finishing off that initial golem there, but of course the golem's death damage does enough damage to destroy the bats. So there goes my bats, unfortunately. Then we got the Hog Rider coming in again here on the right, and he tornadoes it all together. Now, one thing that I noticed he was doing is he was trying to counter my, bats or my minions, whatever I'm using to counter his graveyard. He was countering my bats with his tornado. So I know that he doesn't have the tornado in hand now because he just used it on my last offense. So I can safely put those bats down to counter that graveyard pretty well. I got the Hog Rider coming in again here, and I want to make sure that I get rid of those skeletons. But hey, I think the bats and the Ice Spirit do a good enough job with that. Now, of course, I got his 2 support cards. Well, I guess the kind of mini tank and the 1 support locked onto my knight there. She does a good job of protecting. I kind of wanted to get that knight down to tank for the wizard, so that the minions wouldn't just melt to his wizardy, fireballiness again. But it didn't work out too well with the tornado. Regardless, I got the EBarbs coming in here, and I was ready for that big push, ready for them to connect, but not quite. I zapped to try to chip away at those minions, get some chip damage off there, and make sure that I kind of chip away at the tower as well. Now here comes the hog. I opt to rage because I just want to get a little bit more damage on that tower. I just need like 2 more hog swings and it's dead, or like 1 more hog swing and a few zaps and it's dead. Of course, here I have to play hard defense. I get the knight down just in time to distract the Valkyrie and the wizard, and my bats again are doing a great job of shutting down all those skeletons from the graveyard. The hog again does not connect to the tower, and I'm kind of scared because I'm really low here. My tower is now at 244 health, and he's still up at 600, so that is unfortunate for me. So I kind of try to keep my head in the game and make sure that I get that knight down just in time to protect against that wizard. I got the bats and the minion horde this time to protect against those skeletons, and they actually are spread out enough that he isn't able to tornado them all away. I got the hog coming in here. Is it going to get 1 swing off? Yes, there it is. Alright, there's the 1 swing that I needed to get me back into the game here. Now we're both at about the same health. He tries to chip away at my tower by just using a log on it, but that's kind of some wasted elixir there, because he needs to cycle a few logs through in order to get that. I go with the knight tanking for the Hog Rider. The Hog Rider runs in, destroys that, what was it, tombstone, and connects to the tower for the win there. And you can see we were at 1 minute left in the game, so definitely taking advantage of that increased overtime in this particular match. Alright guys, and lastly here we have this match where I go up against a level 13, and this isn't really one that, is making too much use of that overtime. I just kind of wanted to throw it in there for the sake of having, some fun with the ladder match and showing me beat level 13, try to show off and, pretend that I'm cool when I actually get stomped all the time. So he goes for the double prince there on the left. I use the EBarbs desperately to try to protect against it, but it's not enough, so I use the Minion Horde again in the back there. And it actually does a really good job of chipping away and destroying both those princes, but they do connect to the tower a little bit and get some chip damage off on them. Now the Minion Horde goes on offense and chips away at his tower there, and he uses the tornado to take care of those last 2 minions, which in my opinion was kind of a waste because they weren't going to get too much damage off on his tower. And now he's down 3 elixir and doesn't have tornado in his hand for my hog, which I don't think he even knows that I have yet. But since he doesn't know that I have that, he kind of wants to keep that in mind. Like, the tornado might have been needed to use against something else. But hey, it's all good. I'm nitpicking here. I make tons of mistakes and bad elixir trades all the time, as most of us general players do. Alright, I got a big push going here in the left. You can see that this guy, because he's level 13, he has a bunch of really high level cards. His wizard's level 10, but he's got a bunch of other max level cards. The giant's level 11, which is max for rare. Then I got the EBarbs, and those are one of my max level cards. Then again, he's got that Mega Minion coming down the lane, level 11, another max level rare card. So this guy's definitely got high card levels. I'm not sure what he's doing at this particular trophy count. Maybe he's having a bad day and just dropped a few. Maybe he purposely drops like I do on my alt account. Who knows? Or maybe he's just not that great of a player and is just kind of slowly making his way up. Who knows? Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to play defense a little bit. Then I want to kind of out-cycle him, get that hog back in hand, and go for the hog push. But maybe not the best option there. I do manage to interrupt the prince's charge there with the ice spirit, so that's pretty huge. I got the knight, as I usually do, in front of the EBarbs, kind of playing that tank role, and then the EBarbs are just wrecking that giant there, and they proceed to chip away at the prince, get it really low so that the prince's tower can finish it there. He does connect to my knight there, which is unfortunate, and my ice spirit doesn't connect to the dark prince before the charge goes off, and that was an absolutely terrible minion horde. Oh man, that sucked on my part. But hey, as I mentioned earlier, we all make mistakes. Look at that Minion Horde that I did earlier. Go back and replay it in the video if you need to. I played it like right when his wizard was coming down the lane, and the wizard just one-shot them. But hey, there he goes and makes a mistake. He tries to pull my Ebarb and my Hog into his King Tower and activate it, but he doesn't pull them far away enough, so they just collect back onto that Princess Tower and absolutely wreck it. And that was a pretty hilarious finish to this match. So, hey guys, we all make mistakes, and unfortunately this is a very unforgiving game, so one minor little mistake like that can make a huge difference and can absolutely win or lose you the match. Alright guys, that is it for this fun little kind of trophy pushing, kind of ladder playing video. Make sure that am I going to point the right direction this time? Hit the little burger down there to subscribe if you haven't already. Or go on up there to the other one that's going to pop up in a few seconds if you haven't already. Make sure that you leave this video a thumbs up if you liked it, because all those thumbs up help me out. Say hi to Napoleon Dynamite. He says he's got mad skills. Wait, let me get the whole shirt going. Oh, there we go. What else? Comment below. I love comments. I love responding to comments. Leave a comment, and I will respond to it. Maybe I'll even feature you in another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and have a good night.